All right. Well, I'm here to introduce our speaker today. All right, Ms. Vituli has a great message for us. Before she comes up, I told your mom that we would take a selfie, okay? Are you ready for this? All right, guys, say, oh, wait, wrong way. All right, everybody say, hey. All right, so Ms. Vituli's gonna come up. Yeah, there's a microphone right over here. All right, she has to turn it on.
Wait. Thank you for clapping,
but
there seems to be some confusion. I'm not supposed to be doing chapel today.
Yeah, it's you.
No, it's not me. I would have known because I would have been up all week practicing, and I haven't practiced yet. So
well, this is embarrassing, right?
It is, because I know my calendar is accurate. Is your calendar accurate?
Well, I have an application here, and the notification says Dawn has chapel. Miss Vituli has chapel.
I think somebody
today.
spelled it D-A-V-E instead of D-A-W-N, right?
Well,
it's a typo, because I'm not supposed to be doing chapel.
They're all watching, and you know, what are we going to do?
But I'm not prepared for chapel.
All right, well, let's do this. What is your favorite Bible story? Let's go with that.
My favorite
right?
Bible
Should
story.
we do that?
I have lots of favorite Bible stories. You're really putting me on a spot here. All right, let me think. All right, one, I think the story of Isaiah. Isaiah is a great Bible story. How many of you know who Isaiah is in the Bible? Yes. So Isaiah actually sees God, right? And God sends him on a special mission. Do you know about that? Did you hear about that one?
You know, it rings a bell. Do you know about it?
A little bit.
A little bit? Yeah, I think the story, it's foggy. It really is.
All right, well, I think we might have a video. So do we have that video ready? All right.
God calls Isaiah, Isaiah 6.
Oh,
this
there it
is
is.
a story that Isaiah told. In this story, Isaiah explains how God called him to be a prophet and serve God. The same year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord. He was on a great high throne in the temple. The whole building was full of God's glory. 6 winged angels called seraphim flew around him. With 2 wings they covered their faces. With 2 wings they covered their feet. With the remaining 2 wings each of them flew. These angels sang a great chorus. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord Almighty. The whole earth is filled with his glory. This wonderful singing shook the temple. Then smoke filled the sanctuary. When I saw all of this, I was terribly afraid. I will die because I have seen this, I cried out. I am a sinner, and the people around me are also sinners. But I have looked at the King, the Lord Almighty. Then one of the angels flew to the altar. With tongs he picked up a burning coal and touched it to my lips. Your mouth is now pure, and your sins are forgiven, the angel said. Then the Lord spoke. Who will go as my messenger and speak for me? He asked. Who is this person I should send? I will go, I told the Lord. Send me. You may go, the Lord said, but tell my people that they will not understand my words, even though they hear them many times. Tell them they will watch my miracles, but not know what they mean.
All right, so I love that story about Isaiah because God was looking for a person who would be his messenger. And you know what? Isaiah didn't hesitate. He did not. He wanted to be the one to be used by God.
Well, that's fantastic. And here's the thing is, this weekend there was a preacher here and he talked about this same story. And he was saying how in the days of old, so for instance, did you guys know that England has a king? You guys know that? Or a queen. They have a queen, but they've had kings in the past. And if the queen dies, it'll be sad, but nothing really changes for the English people, right? The people in England will keep going to work and they'll do their thing and no other countries are gonna try to invade. But in those days when Uzziah died, and Uzziah was one of the good kings, right? Israel was not in a good place, but Uzziah had a heart for God, and then he dies. Well, that's terrifying for those people because they didn't know if there was going to be a different army that was going to try to invade them, right? Because Uzziah, as a king of Israel, might have made different treaties with different people, but once he dies, maybe those treaties are gone, and maybe somebody else decides, well, I want what they have, okay? So this was not a peaceful time for Israel when a king dies. But not only that, God sends Uzziah to do, or God sends Isaiah to do something that he's telling him. I'm going to send you to preach to these people, and these people are not going to listen. They're not going to listen. They're not going to understand. Now, they weren't like you guys. I know that all your teachers are saying, well, listen, I've got my little kingdom here, and they all listen to me all the time, right? In your classroom? That's not the case with the Israelites. The Israelites, God told him, I'm going to send you, and they're not even going to listen. But Isaiah knew that he was meant for that purpose. And Isaiah knew that he had to do what he had to do and that he was willing to follow God, even if it meant not having a great time. A good example of just being able to say, here am I, send me, is Miss Vituli. Did you know that? All kidding aside, she didn't know that she was going to actually teach chapel. It was actually supposed to be somebody else, but they weren't able to come in. And I even told her, Miss Vituli, I'll just do it on my own. And then she said, no, I'll do it. Why? Because she was willing to do something that God had called her to do, that God had put her on her heart. So that's a really good example of having an attitude. Yeah, that's right, give her a hand. Give her a hand for sure. So that's a really good example of a person that saw a problem, and then they decided, oh, I'm going to step in. And boys and girls, that is what God is calling us all to do every day, to see where we can step in and where we can represent him, even if the people that you are speaking to don't want to listen. Even if they don't like what you're saying, you do what God has called you to do because you feel that that is a greater purpose.
Oh. Yes, boys and girls, you know how much I love you, right? And how much I miss you. So I was happy to do it, a little nervous, right? Because I wasn't prepared, but guess who prepared me? The Lord prepared me, right? He knew this was going to happen to me, so I prayed, and you know what? God is with me now. And if you think about it, you know, we are all created anew in Jesus Christ, so we can do these good things. And he's planned these things for us a long time ago. Ephesians 2:10 says that we are God's masterpiece, and I think I have another video about that. You want to see it? All right, roll that video.
Have you ever watched someone draw? When it starts, it kind of doesn't look like anything, does it? Weird lines and shapes and shades just seem to be nothing, or even just a spilled mess, a mistake. And you try to guess what it is, but the lines don't give you no clues. Everyone's got an opinion about the artwork and the artist. It's weird, it's ugly. That's not what I would do. That artist must not be that good. Why is that line there? Why'd you put that shade there? This looks dumb, but the artist must know something you don't. Maybe the artist sees the masterpiece already. Maybe it's not a mess at all. And every line and shade and stroke is on purpose. And maybe you can't see the full picture now, but the artist does. What if that artist was the creator of all things, God? And what if that masterpiece is you? I have good news. It is you. You're a piece of work. A masterpiece of work. A work of art.
All right. So did you see how, like, the artist had an idea of what the masterpiece had to look like at the end, but at the beginning it really didn't seem all that, you know, you could see some of the shapes, but you really didn't realize what it was, right? And the more that the artist works on it, the sharper that image becomes. And I want you guys to know that you guys were all created as God's masterpiece. And every last one of you guys have different gifts and talents. And not a single one of you guys is the same as somebody else. Some people might have similar skills. Some people might have similar gifts. But the reality is, God has created everyone differently and unique. And God has made you to fulfill a purpose. God does not have physical hands and feet. God has people like you that he's going to send places, and God's feet are your feet. God's hands are your hands, because God is going to use you to do his work here on earth. And he's created it that way. He could make everything happen by just thinking it. But that's not his purpose. His purpose is to use us, right? So he's always going to ask, who am I going to send? Who is going to go for us? And the answer always needs to be, God, send me. Okay? All right. So I always think about this. So Alexia, tell me, what did you want to be as a grown-up? What do you want to be when you grow up?
The president.
She wants to be the president of the United States. Anything else on your mind other than the president?
Yes, it's an interior designer.
Could you imagine the White House with an interior designer in it? Well, I will vote for you, for sure. All right?
Mr. Del Busto, what did you want to do?
What did I want to be when I grew up? I wanted to be a chef for a long time. I wanted to cook, and I wanted to create masterpieces in the kitchen. But here's the thing is, all right, are you ready for this? I'm gonna share with you guys. When I went to the Arts Institute to be a chef, I went with my mom, and we were in the parking lot, and then they told us how much it would cost. And then I realized how much chefs made, and it all didn't make sense, right? Because I would have to get all these loans out, and my mom said, well, we can't afford it. So I remember being very disappointed in a parking lot when I was about 18. And then I decided to go to a different school, a school that I could afford, and the school where I felt that God was sending me. And that was a school where I wanted to be a pastor, right? And I actually worked as a pastor for a couple of years. But in that time, I had to take some teaching classes because I had a minor in PE, right? And one of my teachers, right, I had to take classroom teaching classes. And one of my teachers, Dr. Smith, said, hey, you know what? I think you'd be a great teacher. And I told her, you are out of your mind. I will never be a teacher. And guess what I became? A teacher. Yeah, I taught for a few years. I taught geography here in middle school for a little bit. And then I became a PE teacher for many, many years. And God has led me through all those things. So through going to Bible college, he taught me how to look at the word and how to apply it into daily work that helps me as an assistant principal nowadays. All right, and then all those teaching classes has helped me as I've gone through. So I thought that I was going to be one thing, and now that's not what I do, but I could see the hand of God in everything that I've done, and I could see how he's guided my steps each way. All right, so we have one more video about some other folks, and we asked them that same question. What are you going to be when you grow up? All right, let's roll video 3. Hey, Mrs. Lopez, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a cashier. I wanted to work at a grocery store.
So tell me more about that. Why?
Because I loved them when they would scan the items and they'd pass it through, and it just looked so exciting to me, and I wanted to be the one to pass all the items through the scanner to bag all the items.
Do you use self-checkout nowadays?
I do.
I want to be a McDonald's worker and a gymnast.
Hey, Sophia, what do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be a teacher.
A teacher? That's a lot of fun.
A lawyer and a gymnast.
Quick question, guys. What do you want to be when you grow up?
Police officer. Scientist.
Scientist? Okay, how fun. Great. Okay, so what do you want to be when you grow up?
A librarian.
A librarian? Well, we're in the library. Is that exciting to you? All right, great job.
I wanted to be a ballet dancer or a teacher.
Okay, so which one did you pick?
A teacher.
Oh, okay. Cameron, what do you want to be when you grow up?
A football all-star.
A football all-star. Excellent.
When I'm older, I want to be a veterinarian.
All right. Miss Vituli, what did you want to be when you were a kid? What did you think you were going to do when you grew up?
I wanted to be a veterinarian because I loved animals so much.
Okay, so tell me, how many animals do you have at your house right now?
I don't have any animals at my house right now.
When I'm older, I want to be a dog trainer.
A dog trainer? What kind of dogs?
Like German, like fluffy dogs, like golden retrievers.
Okay.
And like German shepherds.
German shepherds? Like for attacking?
No, just to help people.
Okay, perfect. Miss Evans, what did you want to be when you were a kid? What did you want to be when you grew up?
So at my kindergarten graduation, I said I wanted to be an FBI agent, just like my dad. So this was his vest.
Okay, that's fun. How did that work out?
So I actually followed in my mom's footsteps, and I ended up becoming a teacher. That's why I'm at CCA.
Okay, are you super tough? Because you look super tough with that vest.
I am pretty tough, small but mighty.
All right, there we have it.
Thank you.
FBI agent. All right, so again, it's more of God has put desires in all of our hearts to do things, but the truth is God is going to call you to do something very special. I know it. I'm talking to each one of you guys, and maybe you're thinking, well, not me, surely not me. I don't know if God is going to call everyone, every last one of you guys. God has a very specific purpose for you, and all you have to do is keep your ear out for whenever he says, who am I going to send? And then your answer needs to be, send me. I am here, send me. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I know you didn't have a choice, but either way, sounds like a nice thing to say right now. What we're going to do is we're going to close in a word of prayer, and the assistant principal for the day is going to close out her day with a word of prayer. All right, are you ready? All right, here you go.
God, you made each of us so unique and beautiful. There is not a single person here whose name you don't know. Thank you for loving us so personally. Would you help us to discover what our unique design is? Help us to see and appreciate who we are instead of trying to be like someone else. Bless each person, God, and may each of us live out of the design you have given us for your glory. In your name we pray, amen.